Good morning. It's Saturday. I hope you got some coffee, tea, and find your seat. We are about to begin. Our first session is a demonstration of what happens when we recover a child who is being commercially, sexually exploited. And who shows up? The process. Our focus for Ensure Justice 2023 is about finding a way home. And it takes a community to make that happen. I want to take a moment to recognize one of the pioneers in addressing human trafficking, commercial sexual exploitation of children here in Orange County. Denise Lorraine Schleicher passed away this year, but her legacy continues, and we want to dedicate this session to our friend Denise. Now, if I introduced everybody on this team, there would be no time for them to actually do their presentation. So I think all I'm going to do is introduce the Honorable Maria Hernandez, our presiding Orange County Superior Court Justice, and ask her to take the lead in walking us through what happens to a child who is recovered here in Orange County and how we come around in a multidisciplinary team. And I hope you begin to see where you fit in this scenario of finding a way home. Passing the baton and taking this off for the video.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. I don't like labels. Nobody likes labels, right? I also have a script I'm supposed to follow. Maria doesn't do well with scripts often, but I'm going to try to stick to the script because it is really important. First of all, good morning and welcome. I see friendly faces right out the gate here, which is really something special for this morning, and Dr. Sandy likes to make us all cry by starting this session dedicated to our dear friend Denise, and that's where I'm going to start, because this is a labor of love with every single one of you that's in this room, who's watching online, and the dedication that you have given to this work and how powerful this work can be. But it doesn't happen unless people are willing to go outside of their comfort zone. And that was Denise Schleicher, a dear friend to so many of us here. And I go back, and so the history, and I'm going to set the scene for you on this MDT and how we move forward. You'll hear from all the parties. You see the long list. We're going to do something that's a little artificial. It wouldn't happen the way it would in real life. I want to make sure that they're identifying themselves in their roles, because what you do is you'll see a whole bunch of faces and try to figure out, well, is that the law enforcement piece? Is that the social service piece? Or is that the healthcare piece? We have all of the pieces, so I want to make sure that they identify themselves. That adds some artificial barriers in here, so please bear with us on that. So when I invite them up, please know that we're going to play this out very similar to how it occurs, but also wanting you to understand how each role becomes such an important part. I think back to when I first met Dr. Sandy back in 2009, 2010 with then Judge Hachimanchi. And I also thank Dr. Morgan for just elevating me to a justice of the Court of Appeal. I'm judge. But justice is fine. I'll let Justice Motuwike know that, who actually stepped into my role when I left juvenile court. What we started seeing, you all are familiar with the TVPA, the federal legislation, robust, comprehensive law for human trafficking. What we saw in California was it was so pervasive here. There was movements, but it was very, very siloed. And it was siloed in our county. And we recognized we needed to do something different. I think, and I'm not sure who reached out to who first, probably Dr. Sandy reached out to Judge Hachimonji, and Judge Hachimonji said, you need to meet this lady. I have never been able to say no to her since. So all of you who are in this room also know that. So then fast forward, and I'm jumping years and almost decades, is 2014. We see SB 855, our own legislation in California for our Welfare and Institution Code, identifying our survivors, our victims, as part of our dependency actions. We see SB 855 as something that needs to be implemented in how we multidisciplinary approach these youth and how important it is. But what I'm going to tell you is what you're going to see here this morning in this MDT, we already started doing it before the legislation. And again, I'm really proud, and especially as the presiding judge for the county, to say we collaborate better than anybody in the state, and hands down probably across the country. You're going to see people who train trainers, who train people across the state, who train people across the country on best practices, evidence-based practices, and how to intervene appropriately. So what is going to happen in our first scene is you're going to see the start of this very holistic, comprehensive approach to young people, and we are going to have a female, but please remember, this is not exclusive to females. You all know that as you sit here, but we are going to utilize a young lady in this particular scenario. You are going to see the first scene set up as an out call. Many of you know the trafficking lingo. The out call is when our survivor victim actually can go to the place. Generally, we're talking hotels. Sometimes it's homes. But what we're going to see is law enforcement receives information for that out call and has contact with our young person for the first time. So what I would like to do is then invite our team up and set the scene for our first call out. And we will invite that. Oh, there we go. We're in the room.
Hello, young lady.
Dude, where the hell is my phone?
I'm Juan. I actually have your phone. I have it right
Can I have
here.
it back?
Not just yet. So let's have I need to talk to you about some things. And so just so you know, I have it. And I need to find out, first of all, what is your name?
My name's Jane.
Jane? How old
Yeah.
are you, Jane?
I'm 19. I just turned 19.
When's your birthday?
January 6, 2004.
So that was that make you a Leo or something?
Yeah, I just turned 19. I've been legal for a year.
Yeah. Okay, how did you end up here today?
Well, I work on my own. I'm a renegade.
Okay, so just so you know here, our discussion here is you're not in trouble, okay? We need to find out what you end up doing here, if there's somebody with you, and our main thing is anyone is forcing you.
Like I said, I work on my own.
No, I understand that. How did you get here?
I got here myself. I took an Uber.
Okay. Where are you staying at?
Just a hotel.
Where's home?
I live with my mom in Buena Park.
Okay. How long? Is that where you were a couple of days ago, or how long? When's the last time you were home?
Probably a couple days ago.
Where does your mom think you're at now?
Probably a friend's house.
All this time?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Jennifer.
Jennifer. Okay. And how long have you lived in Buena Park?
Pretty much my whole life. I live with my mom and my brother.
Oh, you did? Okay. What high school did you go to?
Just a local one.
You graduate?
Yeah.
What's your brother's name?
Connor.
Connor? Okay. Now, you said you've been doing this for a while?
Yeah.
Okay. When did all this start for you?
I've been doing it for, since I turned 18.
Okay. So it hasn't been that long?
Like a year.
Okay. And where are you doing, where are you taking all the money that you're getting? What are you doing with it?
I'm keeping it for myself.
Okay. How much money is on you today?
I don't know, couple, $20, $30.
That's it?
Just cash right now.
Okay. So I know it's late right now, so are we the only date today?
I think so.
Do you just do out calls, in calls?
Yeah, pretty much. I manage everything myself.
Yeah. Do you ever go work on the street or anything like that?
A little bit, but again, only myself. I don't
Okay.
work for anyone.
Your phone here, this is your phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to hold on for right now. Okay. You most likely, it looks like most likely you are going to get your phone back at some point. I just want you to know that, okay? And I know it's upsetting, but I would be upset too if someone took the phone away from me, okay? Is there any communication in this phone with you and anyone else that is maybe directing or assisting you in doing this?
No, it's literally just me.
Just you?
It's just me.
So there'd be zero of anyone else in here?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, you don't think, okay. Will you be able to let us in your phone?
I don't really want to.
Okay. Well, it's your decision, all right? But it's one of the things that we want to do because, look, here's our two main concerns. One is that you're not a minor. Okay, that's our main concern. The other concern, if you are an adult, that you're not being forced to do anything like this. Okay, that nobody's forcing you or threatening you or anything like that. Those are our two main concerns, and that's part of what you're here. So for right now, you're being detained. Do we figure out what's going on? So I'm going to step out. I'm going to keep your phone. You're going to stay here with these other investigators here, so just chill, and then I'll be right back. Okay? Good morning, Lisa. I know it's 2 in the morning, but since I'm up, I figured you'd be up too.
Yes, you know, I always answer your calls, Sergeant Revelis, in the middle of the night. How can I help you?
We were here at an out call. We got a female detained who says she's 19. She looks really young. I think she's a minor. Let me give you the information that I have, and then see if we can figure out, you can help me out with this. So it says her name is Jane, she's 19. Here's her date of birth. But she's telling me this is mom's name, and then this is brother's name. We got Buena Park, and she's gone to Buena Park High School. I think she's off on her date of birth.
Okay.
So this is all I got, and
All right. Let me take a look in our statewide database and see if I can find this Jane. Okay. All right. So I found the mom. Thanks for giving me her name and date of birth. And I found the brother. And I found that they do have a youth. There's a girl that the mom, mom has a daughter, but her name's not Jane, actually. Her name is Mary. And based on our records, she's not 19. She's actually 16 years old. She's a student at Buena Park High School.
Okay.
So this person that you've encountered, I don't think that that's an adult. I think that that's a minor.
Okay, what's mom's name?
Mom's name is Jennifer.
Okay.
And so I looked up a little bit of the history here, and we do have several reports of exploitation that this youth was investigated in LA County. So she actually has a history of being a victim of exploitation. She's been found on Figueroa a couple of times.
All right, so just want to see even our records. Okay, I found mom. I got her DMV. She does match up to that address.
Right.
Okay, so I think we're pretty confident this is going to be Jane, and so we're going to be taken to the station. If you can have someone meet us there, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. I'll have a social worker meet you at the station.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let me set the scene for what's going to occur next. Again, I talked briefly about the collaboration between so many different agencies. You are going to hear from social services, which you already did, Sergeant Revelis, who is the on-scene investigator and our lead on our human trafficking task force. But again, what we realized here in Orange County very quickly, probably back in 2010, was we still had silos. We needed to break down those silos and have everybody communicating with each other. The protocol that was put in place as a result of SB 855 is something that we worked outside of informally and started creating response protocols, like you heard from Lisa at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know, Sergeant Revelis, how many times did we talk on the weekends, 2 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night? This is not a 9 to 5 job. These things are not happening at 9 to 5. So what then is going to transpire is, Sergeant Revelis, are you going to then transport this young lady somewhere?
Yeah, so now that we've determined her identity, I break the bad news to her, and then we proceed into our next phase of our process. So,
and that would be that Sergeant Revelis is going to transport her to the Anaheim Police Department to what we call a soft room. And that's really important because as you're going to hear what we've done over the years in breaking down these silos and working together and bringing in all of the stakeholders and the justice partners so that we have that team approach for this young lady is probably many of you have not been inside a police department, and specifically, hopefully not in their interrogation rooms, which are intended for who? Suspects. Again, Sergeant Revelis will nod his head. They're gray walls usually. They have metal chairs. They have handcuffs that are often attached to benches because generally we're not talking about the young people, survivor victims like Mary here. So what happens is this is a picture of an actual current soft room within the Anaheim Police Department. The beauty of this room, it was created by youth survivors. In other words, I think Sergeant Revelis and his team did a great job revamping it once into a better room, and he's going to smile, and the girls came in and said, yeah, no, Juan, that's not so good. And thus, Sergeant Revelis working with his team and so many others that you'll hear about, whether it's our advocates, waymakers, our social services, our healthcare people, everybody got together and created a room that was coming from the youth, saying, this is what we want in a place that we go to. So now Mary's going to be transported to the soft room at Anaheim Police Department.
okay, Mary, as I told you, you're going to be here with us. I'm not upset that you lied to us. We kind of expect that a lot. Okay, I can understand the position that you're in, but we're past all that, and we're going to have to figure out what we're going to be doing with you, given the fact that you are underage. This is happening. You cannot consent to any of this. Okay, so whoever is assisting you, and I'm going to tell you this also as well. We've been doing this for a while, especially me, and we've never run across any minor that works by themselves. That just can't happen. Rights, hotel rooms, or anything like that. Okay, so we're going to have a discussion as well and get more into those details. I understand you're upset about it. I still have your phone. And so give me some time there. But what I'm going to say, like, you can tell it's really cold in here, okay? But we have this closet that some people have helped us put together. If you can go in there, you know, just so you're not so cold, and get some, you know, if you can find some sweats that fit you, there's a blanket or anything like that, have that there, and then just kind of relax and sit here, okay? So right at this point, I also call, as we were coming in, I also call I'm already aware that social workers coming to the department. I also make a call to victim advocates groups. And one of the things that happened is let them know what we have, so they're on their way as well. So this is all happening. Fortunately for us in Orange County, I mean, this is within 30 to 40 minutes max, depending where we're at in the county, the time of the day. So.
Hi, Mary. Are you doing okay? Okay. I'll just let you take a moment to get warm. I'm the social worker. I was called out here to come and meet you and check in on you, kind of see how you're doing. Okay. My name is Nicole, and I just need to find out a little bit about you and your family, because I want to try to figure out the next safe place for you to go. Okay? So can you tell me a little bit about your family?
Yeah, I live with my mom. It's just me and my mom and my brother. We all share a condo in Buena Park. I usually sleep in the same bedroom as my mom. Okay. My brother's kind of in and out. He's not really home very much.
How are things at home? Do you feel safe there, or what's kind of going on?
Yeah, I'm fine at home. I have some arguments with my mom every now and then, but nothing too massive.
Okay, when you're arguing with your mom, what's kind of going on with her?
She kind of has her own issues. She's not very present. She tries, and I love her, but...
Does she happen to have any issues with using substances of any kind? Or?
Yeah, she drinks pretty often.
And when she's drinking, how does she act?
She gets mad at me, and I try to avoid the situation. I usually just leave.
Okay. When you get in trouble at home, what kind of punishment do you usually experience?
Well, she just gets mad at me, and I leave.
Okay. Tell me about your brother. How does he treat you?
He's kind of just in and out. He does his own thing, but when he's home, we just argue, so I try to ignore him.
Okay. How about when it comes to food and having electricity and things like that? Is that going okay? Or?
For now, it's okay. It's not always the most stable.
Okay. What kinds of things do you sometimes go without?
Well, sometimes my mom has to spend the grocery money on things like electricity, so we don't always have food to eat.
Okay. So I understand, you're picked up by law enforcement, you've been working, and so it sounds like you have some stressors at home that are causing this. How do you feel about going home?
I want to go home. I miss my mom.
You do? Okay. How's things going on at school for you?
My grades are okay, but I don't really have a lot of friends.
I looked and see that you tend to go out to LA a lot. What's going on in LA?
Just family.
Okay. Okay. So as far as being home, your mom is struggling with some alcohol issues, it sounds like, and she yells at you, but has anybody at home ever touched you in your private areas in which you made you feel uncomfortable or anything like that?
Well, my dad is actually in prison.
Okay. Okay. And obviously he's in prison, so when was the last time you saw him?
I was pretty young. I barely remember.
Okay. So it sounds like it might be okay for you to go home then, if your dad's in prison, and it sounds like your mom's having some struggles. We might be able to help her with some of those kinds of things, but I'm going to need to talk to her first.
Okay.
Do you know if she knows what's been going on with you?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to go and make a phone call and give your mom a call, and I'm going to see if she might be able to help us out here, and maybe we can help your family out and see if we can't get you guys back together. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to check into that, and then I'll be back in a little bit. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
As you saw, I've updated the victim advocate, and this change has happened where law enforcement, we're more apt to discuss the investigation with the victim advocate. That wasn't true before. And they always bring food 99% of the time because they don't eat until they meet their quota. So we've learned that as well. So when I called the victim advocate, I already asked her what she wants to eat, and that's what he's bringing.
Hey, Mary. So brought you some food. Is there anything else that you want, by the way, too? I can grab you some fast food. We have In-N-Out, Jack in the Box.
No, I'm not hungry. Thank you.
You sure? Do you want water or anything like that?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay. So just to let you know, my name's TJ. I'm an advocate. I know you're meeting a lot of new people right now and that everything can be a little overwhelming. So I just want to explain who I am and what my role is, and then we can catch up later also. So as an advocate, I know that you met Nicole, so she's a social worker. For the advocate, I'm just going to I can work with you. So kind of whatever happens next, whatever the next stages are, I can be the point person. Also, I want to let you know that we have confidentiality.
Okay.
So whatever you tell me doesn't necessarily go on to anyone else. There's a couple of conditions with that. So if you tell me that you're actively going to harm yourself, that's something I would report. Or if you're I'm actively planning on hurting someone else. But reality is, outside of that, we have confidentiality. So you can talk to me about the case if you want. We can also just not talk about the case because it's 2 a.m. and I'm sure that this isn't necessarily what you want to be talking about because I know that that's what you've been talking about a lot right now. So does that all make sense to you, just kind of before I move on?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So right now we're just kind of waiting. I know Nicole's talking to your mom and she'll kind of figure out more of the details. Is there any questions that you have for me or anything else right now?
Well, am I going to spend the night here? Can I go home?
Yeah, so we're going to try to figure that out. Like I said, that kind of depends with Nicole's conversation with your mom as well. But I can definitely try to figure that out for you too. So, like, I know this is a general question, but like, how are you doing?
Well, been better.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'm just here. I guess it could be worse. It could be better. I'm fine, I guess.
Yeah. Is there anything that we can do right now? Like, I know that there's games here. Like, it might take a minute. Is there anything that we can do to pass the time?
Not really. I mean, I'm just fine, like, doing whatever.
Okay. I mean, we have notebooks too. Do you like to draw or anything like that?
Yeah, I draw a little bit, but...
What kind do you like to draw?
I like to draw people. I like portraits.
Oh, cool. Like, what kind of people? Like, people that you know or people in the past?
So sometimes people at school, sometimes I'll look up pictures of people on the internet to draw.
That's cool. Do you do a class at school for drawing?
Yeah, I'm in an art class at school, and I really like it.
Oh, that's really cool. Tell me more about that.
Well, my art teacher's really nice. She really looks out for me. I don't really have a lot of friends at school, so it's nice to kind of have like a safe place to go. I spend a lot of time in the art room at school. I really like the teacher.
That's cool.
So at this point, Probation Officer Lisa Carpenter, good morning. You know, it's always a plus when I can wake up 2 Lisas in one day. You know, so hey,
Some interesting features.
yeah, I got Mary. Let me give you her info. See what you got on her. We're trying to make a decision how we're going to go about it with her here.
Okay, so in checking our system at probation with the information that you gave me, I see that we have had contact with her in the past. We did get a referral from the Department of Education for truancy a while ago, and she has a petty theft charge that came in a couple years ago, which we handled informally with some sanctions, and that was dismissed. But that's all we have on her. So at this point, she has no other contact with us.
Okay, thank you very much. You can see the gathering information, just trying to make a decision. I do want to add here that if you note, as I said, it's really cold in here. There's some sweats. It's only because we can't really go, hey, we're really uncomfortable with how you're dressed in the light. So it's cold. We have some stuff in here. Yes, we keep clothes and everything at the police department. So now, I talked to Lisa. There really isn't anything on the criminal part of some truancy and some petty theft years ago.
Okay.
We don't have access to her phone.
Okay.
We have leads, but we're following right now on her trafficker, so we got nothing on that so far right now.
And I just got off the phone with Mom, and she shared with me some information about being at home, and she wants to go home, but it sounds like Mom has some alcohol issues, and they sometimes aren't able to pay for electricity, and there's some things like that. So I have some concerns. I think we could provide some services to the family, but right now, Mom is feeling like she just can't control her. She's running away all the time. She's going out to LA, and she's just feeling like she just can't keep her safe. And so she's actually giving us permission to take her into our emergency shelter, Orangewood Children and Family Center. So I think that's kind of where we're at right now, unless...
Yeah, I completely agree, and especially with the prior exploitation, I think we're on the right path. So let's wait to see what TJ comes up with, and we'll discuss it. And somebody will give her the bad news here soon.
Okay.
And we are going to keep her phone
yet?
with this information. Okay. So you can decide if you want to give her those news as well, because she's going to lose it. But that's what it's going to be right now. She's not getting her phone back.
Okay.
Yep. Can I go home?
Yeah, let me go check in with the social worker and see what the status is, but I'll come right back, okay?
Okay.
Awesome.
Hey. Hi, TJ. How'd things go?
She's doing okay. I mean, not great, but that's kind of, she was just wondering, so what is the plan for tonight?
I talked to her mom. I do have some concerns about what's going on at her home and some things like that, although I think we could have provided some supportive services. But ultimately, Mom right now just does not feel like she can keep her safe. She's been running away a lot. She just can't convince her to stay home. Mom has an indication of what might be going on with her, but again, she just can't come home right now. And so she's giving us permission, consent, to take her to our emergency shelter and bring her into protective custody.
Okay.
Yeah, her explorer is still out of custody here. We haven't found him. And based on all our interview from the hotel and our interview in there, she's adamant about protecting him so far right now. So I think this, for sure, for a start, it's going to be the best route right now. The issue becomes is which one of your two is going to give her the bad news, especially, and I'm going to keep her phone. I'm okay with my guy going down there, but I think one of you two has better rapport with her right now, so take your pick.
If you want, I can let her know about the phone if
Okay.
you want to explain the housing situation.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
So do you want to go in there real quick and we'll kind of explain it to her?
Yes.
Hey, Mary. So just to let you know, they're going to keep your phone for right now. I work with them all the time. I know, I said you're going through a lot right now. They really will get you your phone back soon. Sometimes it just takes a minute, but I know that there's no reason for you to trust me, like we just met, but I'm hoping that as we work together longer that you will. But just to let you know, like, they really do care about you a lot, and they want to get you your phone back, so they will do that. I know that you're upset right now, but they promised me that they'll get your phone back soon, and so that will happen, but for right now, it's not going to happen. And then in terms of housing, Nicole will explain what's going to go on for tonight.
Yeah, sorry, Mary. I talked to your mom, and she just doesn't feel like she can keep you safe right now. I know you really want to go home, and you have a really good relationship with your mom. When I was talking to her on the phone, I kind of was concerned about what's been going on there. It sounded like in her voice she wasn't really understanding everything happening. I'm not sure how well she can protect you, but ultimately she doesn't think she can protect you right now and would like some additional help. So because of that, at this point, I'm going to need to take you into our emergency shelter or into a children and family center. I'll be able to take you there, okay? As long as you're cooperative and there's no issues, I'm happy to drive you over there, and TJ can come and see you there as well. So we'll still be able to work with you and help your family, but right now, you're going to have to come with us, okay?
So what you've seen is certainly an abbreviated version of what really transpires. And again, it transpires usually in the wee hours of the morning because these outcalls, the activity, as I've shared, generally don't occur on the 9 to 5 schedule. What I think was important and we wanted to make sure that you saw is we have very specifically trained individuals that are working with this population. And that's so important. You all are seeing some of it here in this conference. You're going to have workshops and have attended workshops on the neurosciences of the brain. Really important, trauma-informed care. Seeing this through a trauma lens. Every one of the individuals that are involved have had that training and work with this population so that when they approach, they're approaching with evidence-based practices and how they intervene, when they intervene. The thing we also wanted to share with you, you can see Mary's withdrawn, you can see some of the affect of Mary, and what we will also share is the other side of Mary. We can't display here. We have a mixed room and we are giving you absolutely a PG version. And probably actually the G version. Because as you can imagine, the young lady who has been taken away from what she thinks she's got it all going on. You can tell with Sergeant Ravella, she wasn't sharing anything about her trafficker. He's continuing to investigate that with his detectives. That trafficker is still out there. So he's worried about making sure we're keeping her safe from the very person she's protecting. And quite frankly, what you generally will see, people like Nicole, the social worker, or Lisa, those first responders that are out in the field, they're getting a lot of FUs. They're getting a lot of, I'm not talking to you. They're getting a lot of, my trafficker, my boyfriend wouldn't take me away. He would give me food. To Sergeant Revalos' point, as long as I turned my 10 tricks in a night, I got McDonald's burgers. I remember that being one of the first comments I got from my 13-year-old, one of the first times I sat down in an MDT, which was, he got me a Big Mac. She didn't see any problem with the fact that she had to turn 10 Johns to be able to get her Big Mac. So, again, what you're seeing is a very tamed version of what these folks address day in and day out. But I also want to point to the very important fact that they're all very specifically trained because this is their passion and they want to know how to best intervene. So what moves forward now? Now that Nicole has transported Mary to our Orangewood Center to keep her safe at our emergency shelter, the case will be initiated, and we are not going to go into all of the nuances, certainly, of a child being brought into the juvenile court, a dedicated case that is then issued, investigated, but it's a very deep investigation, and what I will tell you, it occurs on extremely short timelines. The Welfare and Institution Code, for good reason, has very short time frames that a child must be heard, have counsel appointed, appear before a judge to make sure, are we taking a child into protective custody, and we have the basis to do so, the foundation, the law, as I shared with you, the Welfare and Institution Code and some of the additions via SB 855. So what we then do is, you will see next is the case conferencing to say, is this young person appropriate for, you've heard Grace Court. Grace Court is that MDT that we created, understanding that this is a special population. This is a child generally who is a rape victim, sexual assault victim, DV victim, you name it. The layers of the onion are far more complex than any of the youth that we address in the juvenile court system. So what will now happen is, again, we have dedicated professionals in each of these divisions that were very siloed at one point. But now, as you can see, Sergeant Ravelis probably spoke to, at least 3 or 4 people within a couple hours at 2 o'clock in the morning, because we all respond to those phone calls, because that's how it works. So next we go to the next MDT, which will occur. And what I'm going to do is ask each of you to introduce yourselves to the audience, not something that would happen at one of our MDTs, but we need to talk about how can we now help Mary.
If it's okay, Your Honor, we'll just go ahead and get started. So,
please.
I'm Lisa Delabater. Thank you, everyone, for joining me this morning. I'm the CSEC coordinator for the County of Orange, and I really appreciate everyone coming together to talk about Mary. Mary was brought into protective custody a couple of days ago, so we're going to collectively talk about our concerns for Mary and try to make an assessment about whether we should refer Mary over to Grace Court, because we're concerned that she's been a victim of human trafficking. So let's introduce ourselves to each other as we have our conversation here today.
Hi there, my name is Nicole Stratman, and I'm the senior social worker currently assigned to Mary's case. Do you want me to go ahead and talk about my concerns, or do you want us to do introductions first? Okay.
Hi, I'm Lisa Carpenter. I'm the probation officer who is assigned to Grace Court.
Hi, I'm Raina Lee. I'm the coordinator of the Foster Youth Services Coordinating Program with Orange County Department of Education.
My name's TJ Peterson. I'm the victim advocate assigned to Mary.
Warren Velez, I'm the supervisor with the task force.
All right, thanks everyone. And so at this point, I always like to start the conversation by turning it over to the social worker so she can tell us a little bit about what the concerns are that brought this case before the court to begin with.
Okay. So I'm really concerned about Mary. I think that there's been a lot more trafficking and exploitation that's been going on than that she's admitted to. I was able to get in contact with a Los Angeles County children's social worker who had previously done an investigation. She had been found during their investigation on the area known as the TRAC, the area known for prostitution in LA County, having waving down cars. So she was picked up by them, detained by them, and they returned her home to mom. Of course, that's when we made contact with her sometime thereafter. And since then, I have learned that she met her trafficker on Instagram. That's how they began a relationship, which she really thought was a boyfriend relationship. For about 2 weeks into their communication and knowing each other is when he had her start working for him. So it seems pretty clear that she's been trafficked. She's really thought of him as a boyfriend, and I'm also, though, concerned about what's going on at home with mom. It seems like she really is struggling with some major alcohol issues. She's unable to keep Mary safe. Mary's also talking about being bullied at school, so she doesn't want to be at school. She doesn't want to be at home, so she wants to be out on her own, doing her own thing. So I think that places her at higher risk as well. Again, she's in love with this guy, and she's also been running away a lot, whether it's leaving school or leaving her home. And so these are some of the things that I've learned so far with Mary.
Oh, thank you so much, Nicole. Yeah. How about something from probation? Do you have any records with her?
Yeah, I looked her up in our system, and about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we did get a referral from the Department of Education for truancy, so she hadn't been going to school. Then she came before us on a petty theft charge. She had stolen some makeup, some clothes from Target. So we did handle that informally. We gave her some informal sanctions, and looking through the notes from that officer, you know, there were some issues at home, some minor issues at the time, but she did finish all of her sanctions, and the case was dismissed. So
Okay.
that's all we have.
Okay, not too bad, but definitely some concerns.
Yes.
And so Raina, how about her school records? I'm hearing some issues with truancy, but can you give us a little more information about what's happening with her with school?
Yes, absolutely. So since she is at Orangewood Children Family Center right now, she is attending Lions School with Access, and she's in her second year of high school. So after getting contact with Buena Park High School and just kind of hearing from their team, we found out that she's completed 45 credits out of the 220 needed to graduate, so she needs about 175 more. But she does not have an IEP, so there's no special education services in place. She's also had a lot of school gaps in her education due to her AWOLing and just changing schools pretty often. It's a lot of changes, but within her first 2 years of high school, she's had 7 school changes already. Her previous school team was able to share that they did have a lot of concerns with her frequent use of her phone during class time, and also her absconding pretty often from school with other female students and adult males. They did share that they also tried to make multiple attempts to hold a meeting to address concerns and offer support services, but they weren't able to because her mom, her education rights holder, was not responsive. She wasn't present consistently for school, so they did go and initiate the student attendance review board, the SARB process as well. So that's what I have.
Okay, all right. Thank you for looking into that for us. And TJ, how about your interaction with Mary since she's come to our attention? Is there anything you can share about your concerns?
Yeah, so we've been able to meet up a couple times since the call out as well. She responds pretty well. She kind of understands my role. Like, we've talked about some stuff that she's asked me to keep confidential, so obviously I'll keep that private, but some of the stuff that she was okay with me sharing, kind of like what Nicole said, that she still does identify the pimp as her boyfriend. In her point of view, this is just a relationship. She was doing what she was doing, as part of the relationship, and still doesn't really see it as a trafficking situation. It presents very similar to what we've experienced with a lot of other victims, especially for minors, where they identify not as a victim, but as part of a partnership. The other thing too, she has actually asked for therapy. As we've been talking a little more, even though she doesn't see herself as a victim, she knows that there may be some stuff going on that she could possibly work through with therapy, so she was okay with me advocating for her to see a therapist and maybe start working on that while she's in placement.
Yeah, that will definitely get a referral to our CSEC specialized therapist through the healthcare agency. Can you submit that referral?
Yeah, I'll
Nicole?
go ahead and take care of that. Yeah,
Okay.
she'll be great with her.
And Sergeant Revelis, how are things going with the investigation, or do you have anything else to add to the conversation?
Yeah, it's fortunately the trafficker is in custody as we speak. We got him a couple of days ago. We did manage to. She opened up a little bit more with us once we kind of told her that after being upset. We did manage to get into her phone as well, and this is a summary of our investigation right now. It appears that this guy is her second trafficker. Okay, the previous one I think is the one Nicole was talking about, that we found out she met him through IG through a friend, and he went through the grooming process, boyfriend, girlfriend, and then eventually pitched this idea to her, as it always happens. She agreed to it. So she had been working Figueroa, so that's probably where they made contact with her as far as that. The change happened from that trafficker to this one is because there is a point that he got really upset at her regarding something that was going on in Figueroa, and he actually beat her right there in the middle of the street. For her, as she thought, as she was working the street, she made a relationship with one of the other working girls, adult. So when that happened, she happened to be there. She goes to her, and of course, the other girl says, "You can work for my daddy." That's who we have in custody right now. We have a little bit that leads us to the initial one. And there's a couple of things that she brought up that's very new to me right now because I hadn't heard this before. She actually, in her mind, loves the idea because she says she gets an adrenaline pump of being on the street. She likes the socialization as she's out there with the other girls out there. There's a major issue, as you mentioned, at home with her family. She very much dislikes being home. What's interesting on this one is she goes out there and she comes back for glimpses at home. Right? We haven't seen that before, and then she'll go back out. So that's what mom is seeing. She's only lasted a couple of days there, so I think in her mind she's trying to make home work, and it's not working. And so she keeps going back out. So this guy's in custody. We're looking at the next one, and that's the summary of our investigation right now.
Sounds like she really has a need for connection with people, and so unfortunately she's making a connection with people on the streets. They're feeling some sort of need that she has that's not being met otherwise. So Nicole, did you have a chance to talk with Mary about Grace Court and kind of explain what it is? Because we want to make sure that she's agreeable to participate in this specialized collaborative court. Did you have that conversation with her?
Yes, I did have a little bit of an opportunity to kind of share what it's about. It's a really supportive environment, and she seems open to it. I believe her attorney is going to talk to her a little bit more and give her some more details, but she's certainly open to it and would like to meet the judge and kind of see what it's all about and see if it can be helpful.
Okay, good. Thanks for talking with her about that. So, it seems pretty clear to me, but I think that it's important that we make a group decision, have a consensus about whether or not we think that Mary could benefit from Grace Court. It sounds like we have clear evidence that she's been exploited. There's also some other concerns that are going on. She seems to have a bit of a history about it. What do you all think about making a referral for a Grace Court assessment? Do you think that's the right thing for us to do?
Yeah, I think Grace Court would be a really good fit. She definitely has a part of her personality that really does like having the support around her. So
yeah,
it could work.
Yeah, I think she would definitely benefit from all of the services that we would provide for her.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
She loves dogs, so I think it was going to be a very good fit for her. Loves dogs.
We've got a treat for her then. Okay, so I'll go ahead and make a referral for a Grace Court assessment. I'll be in contact with you guys via email to let you know when that's going to be scheduled for, and then we'll all meet and talk about that with the judge. Okay?
Sounds great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next phase that you are going to see, and how many of you are surprised how quickly, how many people are talking about one child? Did anybody have any idea that that is what happens when a youth comes into our juvenile system? Whether it's the juvenile justice system for children or youth that are charged with criminal offenses, as you saw our probation officer up there, you heard about petty thefts related crimes, or our child welfare system dealing specifically with the needs of a youth who needs to be protected from further abuse, emotional, physical, or otherwise, and certainly child exploitation. So when we talk about Grace Court, again, you heard me at the very top of this say, we started doing this very informally, and that's why I always reckon back to Denise Schleicher, who alongside me said we need to do something different. The juvenile justice system, the juvenile welfare system is good, but we need dedicated services to this special population. And we just started bringing folks in, and then obviously legislation caught up with it. Now what you're going to see is when we start meeting, because there has been a petition filed, and as you heard Lisa, the referral has been made to our Grace Court, which is generating resources to abolish child exploitation. Again, our MDT team expands. That information is shared very, very quickly because of time frames, but also we need to meet the needs of that child very quickly. And we also have very special guests like Cadence. I want everybody to recognize Cadence, our service dog, who is just precious up here. It's her first appearance. So we're making sure that she's welcome but not startled. You'll find out what an important factor Cadence is in this whole process of healing and addressing trauma as well. So I have the honor then of sitting down in an MDT, and this happens before we actually go into my courtroom up here. This is actually what the courtroom looks like. We generally will either meet at council tables or back in a room dedicated so that I can hear from all of these amazing people who now have information about Mary so that we can start the steps. So let me turn to Lisa first.
Good morning, Your Honor. Lisa Delamater, Orange County Social Services CSEC Coordinator. Thank you for having us for a Grace Court assessment today. The MDT team wanted to come to bring this case to your attention regarding a youth by the name of Mary who was brought into protective custody last week by the Anaheim Police Department. Mary was recovered by Anaheim Police Department. They went to respond to an out call, and they found her at a hotel room. She at first said that she was an adult, but we worked with her and we worked with them and we looked up her records and found that she was actually a minor and that she has a history of exploitation in LA County. But the first couple of times that there was an investigation in LA County, she was returned to the care of her mom, who lives in Buena Park. But she continued to be exploited. And so we did an investigation that day. We had a few more concerns about things that were going on in the home. There seems to be a lack of supervision by mom, probably related to substance abuse issues that mom is suffering from. And there's also an emotional disconnect between the youth and her parent. She was being bullied at school, and she's been running away from school quite frequently, so she has some truancy issues. And so we decided to actually bring her into protective custody that evening. Mom didn't feel that she could keep the youth safe, and there were some other complicating factors. So since that time, we've conducted an MDT to see whether or not Mary would be appropriate for Grace Court, and the team agreed that we think she really could benefit from the extra support. She seems to really want to have a connection with people, and she's open to services. She wants to get involved with therapy. We've referred her to a CSEC specialized therapist so she can start getting some services going, and we've explained what Grace Court is, and she's interested.
Lisa, and I know that TJ was out with her at the scene as well, right? Or has met with her, our advocate?
Yeah, Waymaker sent an advocate the evening of the investigation, and TJ went out and connected with her and has seen her several times since, so they're starting to develop a rapport.
All right, and we know TJ has explained to her he's special to her, meaning it's all confidential, whatever he says, and I think that's important as we try to build rapport. I mean, Mary seems the perfect participant for our Grace Court, but I want to make sure that she understands the different roles. Yours, for instance, as a social worker, is going to be very different than TJ, the advocate, who has that confidentiality. Has that been explained to her?
Yes, Nicole, her social worker, has met with her several times, and so she understands that, while Nicole is a safe person for her to talk to, some things do need to be shared with the group for her own safety, and so that we can develop a case plan that's detailed and, designed to meet her needs, whereas she has complete confidentiality with the advocate, and I think she has an understanding of that.
Perfect, and she has the therapy that's ongoing already with
Yes.
our dedicated CSEC therapist.
Yeah, we've gotten that going. They've met a few times already.
Well, it certainly seems that she is absolutely appropriate, and I would like to bring her into our dedicated program in Grace Court. Are we going to be able to meet her today?
Yes, she's here. Yeah, she's actually here.
Let's have her meet the team.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want it?
I think her attorney is here also.
So, Ms. Jana, may I ask you to invite your client in? And again, I'm so welcoming of Ms. Jana, who's one of our lawyers here as well, dedicated to this specific population. Jana, may I turn it over to you?
Yes, thank you. My name is Jana Kennedy. I'm an attorney for children in Orange County, and I am assigned to Grace Court. I have met with Mary. She's settling into Orangewood. She's doing much better than she was initially. I would describe her as very protective of the trafficker. I would describe her as, very interested in getting her phone back. She seems to understand she's on the wrong path right now. But I would say that she's receptive to services with Grace Court. We've had some discussions about the program, and she is receptive.
Okay, great. How about we meet her and have the team introduce themselves to her?
Thank you.
And as the team introduces themselves to Mary, what you see happening with Cadence absolutely occurs, and it's why it is so important. That bond, as we build a relationship and rapport, I think the bond with Cadence is probably stronger than any of our bonds with these youth.
Mary, this is our judge, Judge Hernandez, and Mary.
Nice to meet you, Mary.
This is our team. And I know sometimes we have introductions of the whole team. And you can ask any questions if you'd like. Okay?
So I'll start off with Mary. I'm just happy to see you here. Just so glad. I said, you know, it will take some time for us to grow to know each other. But what we want to do is sit down with you as your team. You're the captain of your team. And we want to build resources and support around you so that you can do anything you want in life. And we're just happy you're here. So what I want to do is turn it over just so you can be introduced to some of the faces that you'll get to know over the next weeks and months.
I know we've met a couple times, so I'm TJ, so I'll be your advocate. So we'll see each other outside of court as well, but if there's any questions, especially if there's stuff that you want to bring up in court that you're kind of nervous about saying yourself, you can also let me know, and I could bring that up to court on your behalf.
I'm Jennifer McCartney. I represent your mom in this court proceedings.
Hi, Mary. My name is Courtney. I am a deputy district attorney. I'm not assigned to your case. You're not facing any criminal charges. You're not in trouble today. I just want to provide you an update. One of my colleagues is a prosecutor assigned to your trafficker's case. He has been picked up on charges related to your trafficking in addition to trafficking other youth. So he is off the street at this time. And if you or your attorney want any updates, I'm happy to provide those to you at any of the times that we meet in Grace Court, okay?
I'm Jessica Duffy. I'm the county counsel, which means I'm the attorney for your social worker and the agency team on your behalf.
Hi, Mary. My name is Grisela Velasco, and I'm with the Department of Education, and I am basically here to help you with all of your school matters. So anything that I can do to help to support you to make sure that you're successful in school, that's basically why I'm here. So welcome to your team.
Hi, Mary. My name's Lisa Carpenter, and I'm a probation officer, and I'm assigned to Grace Court. And although we are not going to be working directly together at this point, I'm here to support you in any way I can.
Hi, Mary. It's nice to see you again. I'm glad you're able to make it. As you know, I'm your social worker, and I see, I know you were excited to meet Cadence, and you got to meet her. And that is Cheryl. Cheryl is a wonderful, amazing volunteer that brings Cadence to our Grace Court hearings just for Grace Court. And so thank you for coming, and it's really good to see you again.
Hi, Mary. My name is Lisa Delamater, and I'm Nicole's supervisor. So we're glad that you're here. We're really glad you're here. We have an opportunity to work with you.
And so, Mary, just following up, what we do here in this particular program is, as I shared with you, we just want to wrap you up with whatever resources that you might need that will help you. We just want to communicate with you and keep those doors of communication open. We'll have Cadence here anytime that we are in court. We meet very regularly. We have dedicated sessions, but I will also share with you, this entire team, we meet after hours, we talk on the phone, we have emails. So if there are any issues or concerns or anything we can do for you, you don't have to wait until your next court date. We communicate often because, again, we want to make sure that we are providing you, as I've shared, you're the captain of your team to do what you need on your behalf. I appreciate that some of the folks are here this afternoon because, like our prosecutor, our deputy district attorney, she doesn't have anything to do with your case right now. She's helping you. She's prosecuting the trafficker, and she keeps us updated as to what's happening on that case so that you and your lawyer, Ms. Yana, can take care of business and that you're fully informed, because we know that's important. You're a young woman who needs to know what's going on with your life so that you have control in your life.
And Your Honor, you might be interested in knowing that Mary's an artist. And so you want to tell the judge about that a little bit, Mary?
Yeah, I take some art classes at school, and I really like my art teacher. She's really been a good source of like the one only good thing at school. I like to draw in my free time. I draw at school sometimes. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, we've heard you have amazing skills. So Ms. Yana, what I would like to do is maybe we connect her with some schooling or some of the classes that would help her get any of the tools, whether it's pens, whether it's canvas. I'm not sure what kind of art you prefer, but Mary, that's absolutely what we want to do. We want to find what makes you happy and your passion so that you can continue down that path.
Yeah, actually, Your Honor, we can supply the art supplies for her too.
That's
so
beautiful.
We'll connect after court and see whatever kind of art supplies, and then I'll connect that with her and then deliver them.
Perfect. And Mary, I understand that you're not really fond of the food at the shelter. Not so great. What we also have is we have these gift cards because your advocate, your social worker will be able to take you. I heard that you liked In-N-Out, so we can get you some In-N-Out and some food that, you know, it's important to have the good food. So we want to make sure that we're able to provide those kind of things for you. I know you're working hard. I know that this is not easy. So please let us know what we can do.
So, Your Honor, will we be able to have her accepted into Grace Court today?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we'll set our regular sessions for the court. We'll set that next week for next Thursday. And of course, we'll meet routinely after that, and anything that we need to put on the record, we can do so in open court.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. And we'll be sure and get additional services started for the mother also, and set up maybe some family therapy and some substance use treatment for her.
All right. So what I would like to say is that we'd love to tell you that this just happens, and the next week, and the next week, and the week after, Mary shows up, and it turns into a perfect fairy tale. How many of you think that that's what happens? Yeah, we only have one who's optimistic. I love that. This team will stay together and routinely staff Mary's case along with all of our other young people that are participants in our Grace Court. But sadly, what can happen and what does often happen, probably more often than not, is what we call AWOLing, where our youth then leave the shelter or leave the foster care home or go on the run. Just go in on the run, and we need to find them. And Ms. Lisa, what happens? What do we do when a child goes AWOL?
Well, we always inform the court, of course, and local law enforcement so that they can be aware that we have a runaway youth that we're looking for. And we also have an AWOL liaison, so that's a dedicated social worker who has a caseload of youth that are not in care or that they frequently come and go from care. And our AWOL liaison has a unique role in that their approach is really using a harm reduction approach to develop a rapport with the youth. So they come on as a secondary assignment. The primary social worker might be spend a little bit more time, talking to the youth about the importance of following the case plan and trying to really keep them in care, and they're a little bit more strict, or, somebody has to be the one to take the initiative to let the youth know what's going on. You're going to get in trouble if you AWOL too much. But the AWOL liaison is able to use a harm reduction approach. So if they can get the youth to meet them in the community, just to lay eyes on them and continue to develop the rapport, that they can do that without demanding that the youth come back into care or having that particular responsibility. They're able to have access to different social media platforms where they can see if youth are posting, so they can try to figure out where they are. They're able to communicate over different social media platforms just to keep that communication going. And they kind of play the good cop to the bad cop in a way. But the whole approach is to try to nurture a relationship with the youth so that they will be more inclined to come back into care.
Thank you, Lisa. Excuse me. And what we will continue to do is staff this youth. It's important that we're getting the input, even if that youth is not with us in court, whereabouts may be unknown, but to Lisa's point, we're tracking, we're following postings, and we're getting updated. And what I do when I staff with a team, one of my big concerns is for Mary right now. I happen to know she's being exploited. She's continuing to be exploited. She's picked up a new trafficker while she's out on the run. Her current trafficker is pending charges and in custody. But again, unfortunately, what we have learned is often they return to the life. So what we want to do is continue staffing. And so let me turn it over to TJ. What information can you share with the team about Mary, even though we know she's on the run?
Yeah, so currently right now, she continues to AWOL. She does still reach out She'll call me from different numbers, sometimes just to check in. There's times where she calls me that she sounds like she's probably under the influence, but she still is staying in contact with her team to some extent. So she has now seen her former, like, you know, their trafficker as a pimp, but she's engaged with another one right now. It looks like that trafficker is going to go to court. So, you know, I talked to her, let her know, like, if she wants to do a victim impact statement, that she can still do that. So we're still staying connected, even though she's kind of going in and out of staying in contact.
All right, thank you, TJ. Any updates from the agency, Nicole?
Yes, Your Honor. So I have been able to have some communication with her. We were able to locate a family friend to initially place her with. As you know, anytime we have children that come into our emergency shelter, we always look for friends, family, anyone close to the youth to first place that youth with, rather than in foster care or in a group home type of setting. We were able to. She was placed with a non-related extended family member. Unfortunately, things weren't working out very well there. This was as a request of mom, and we really tried, but she just didn't feel like it was a comfortable place. She said, I have a bed, but it's not mine. And so that really, I think, spoke volumes as to her comfort level there. She's continued to AWOL, as TJ said. I hear from her occasionally. I think she said she was going to call into the court hearing today. That's the plan, to at least sort of touch base. We do have the CSEC specialized therapist that continues to work with her. Our AWOL liaison is making contact with her out in the field. Mom is doing all right. She's starting services, and so things are progressing there. But right now, yeah, Mary is out at the moment.
Okay, thank you. How about from Department of Education?
Yes, Your Honor. So Mary, once she was placed, we were able to get her back into Buena Park High School. Unfortunately, she AWOL'd shortly after that, so we've been trying to get a student intervention team meeting to discuss just the concerns. She currently has 60 credits completed, so she still needs about 160 credits or so to graduate, so she's a long ways away. She should be at about 120 at this point. So the plan is that as soon as she returns into care, or back at home, that she and mom will come together with the school team to discuss like what the plan will be for credit recovery, and then just discuss any additional supports that she may need while she's in school.
Okay, thank you. Yana, I understand that your client will call in, which is awesome. We just love to hear from her, even if she won't come to court. What can you tell us about what's going on with Mary right now?
Well, unfortunately, she hasn't been in contact with our office. I was wondering if she's reached out to her mother or any family members.
So on behalf of the mother, mother has been very worried about Mary. She has had very minimal contact with her, and when she does have contact with her, she's encouraging her to return to placement, but she has been unwilling to do so. Mother's engaging in services and always encouraging her to return to care.
Okay. Are we expecting Miss Nicole a call from her then?
Yeah,
into court?
she should be calling in.
Okay. And as the phone is ringing, Madam Clerk, my clerk is picking up a phone call, and this actually does happen, where they might be out on the run, but they have also built enough of a rapport with the team members that they know how to contact us and actually will call in. I was sharing with the team earlier, I had a 13-year-old 10 years ago that still knows how to find me in a courtroom, and I'm at a very different justice center than I was in. She has tracked me down, and I see Mr. Clavesia in the audience, and she will call just to let me know, Judge, I'm doing okay.
Hello?
Mary, this is Judge Hernandez, and I have your whole team here. We're so glad to hear your voice. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Good to hear from everyone. How are you guys?
Can you share with us? We're all here in court. We're just so excited to hear your voice. What have you been up to? Tell me what you've been doing.
I've been pretty good. I'm making it on my own. I have a new boyfriend. He's treating me a lot better this time.
Okay. How's it, when you say he's treating you a lot better, you know, we've talked about the other person who is in custody and pending some charges, and I'm glad that you're being treated better, but can you tell me a little bit about who your new boyfriend is? Do you want to share that with us?
Yeah, I mean, he buys me food and clothes and better than the last guy.
Okay. We'd sure love to have you come back so that we could see you and visit with you. Cadence is here with us. Cadence laying down right now, hoping. She's sad you're not here, Mary. Cadence would love for you just to drop by and say hi. Is there any chance that we can have you just drop by to say hi to Cadence?
I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can come by. I do want to see her.
Okay. I would really, really love it if you could just even, keep in contact with us, whether it's a phone call to Yana, your lawyer, or Nicole, your social worker. I know you made a really good connection with some of the people at school and your therapists. Are you staying in contact with them?
A little bit. I'm doing the best that I can. I'll see what I can do. I'll try to drop by if I can, but not sure.
We really miss you, Mary. We really miss you. Is there anything that I can do? Anything I can help get? Any food? Anything you need that I can get to you out there?
No, I'm good, but thank you.
Okay. I really hope that you stay in contact with us.
I'll do my best.
Yana, I'll let you talk with your client.
Hi, Mary. It's so good to hear your voice.
Good to hear from you, too.
If you need anything, please just reach out to any of us, okay?
Yeah,
We've
of
been,
course.
Concerned about you. I know your mom's concerned about you, and we all miss you, okay?
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm doing fine on my own, but I appreciate it.
Okay, let us know what we can do for you, all right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Bye, Mary. Take care.
Bye. Good to talk to you guys again.
Bye, Mary. Bye.
Bye, Mary. Sadly, what I'm going to tell you now is over a year has passed on the case and the petition that relates to Mary and her protective custody status with us. But as cases seem, they don't go away for us in the juvenile division. And the minute that we're able to make contact again with that youth, we are re-engaged. As you can see, we will continue talking about Mary. What happens now is over a year later, we receive a phone call from our probation department, Ms. Carpenter. And that's where this next session takes place.
Okay, so Mary was arrested by Buena Park PD for petty theft and providing false information to a police officer. She was booked into custody in our juvenile hall. And I went down to talk to Mary, and what is great about Grace Court is I sit in it every week, so she knew who I was. She was willing to open up and talk to me. She said she had been out for a while. She was kind of glad to be back, feeling safe. She admitted that she had been using drugs when she was out, a lot of marijuana and some methamphetamine. So I referred her to her CSEC therapist that she had been seeing previously. We made sure that we connected her with that therapist immediately. And we also talked about what her plan was going to be. She stated she wanted to go home. I let her know that we would be going back to Grace Court and her team would be discussing what options she had, but that she would probably be getting on probation. She participated in CSEC programming that we have in juvenile hall with our healthcare agency therapists. They come in and do Ending the Game. So she was getting some programming, and we talked about when she went out, wherever that was, whether it was back to a foster home or placement, that she would probably be getting referred to an intensive outpatient programming because of the drug use while she was out.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. How about from school side of it, Griselda, what can you share with us about Mary?
Sure, so she's still at 60 credits earned. So the team was able to hold a SIT meeting very recently, and basically after discussing all of the concerns with the gaps in education, they decided that a special education assessment plan would be appropriate at this time, and so they did offer that to mom, and they were able to get that signed. So they will be working on completing that assessment soon to see if she's eligible for any special education services. Right now they have a lot of teachers giving her extra time and extra credit courses or material that they can give her so that she can try to catch up on her credits. So I guess the main thing is just keeping her focused with school and hopefully getting her as many credits as she can while she's in juvenile hall.
That's great. That school is so, so very important for her.
As the agency attorney, because we finally have Mary in care, I would ask that we make our federal findings that we haven't been able to make while she has been gone for the past year. The agency continues to recommend a plan of reunification for Mary with the mother. Mother has been making some progress in services, but because of Mary's needs, we're not quite ready to reunify, so we will continue to plan and provide those specialized services with a plan of return home.
All right, and she's getting really close to turning 18 as well. Is that a concern for you?
It is. We do have the ability under AB 12 to offer her non-minor dependent status, which means that we can, as long as she remains in care, provide services to her until she's age 21. I believe that minor's attorney has gone over that with her, and there will be a transitional planning team meeting that will speak with her about that as well, and a TILP, transitional independent living plan, can be established for her as she comes up on her 18th birthday. The agency, together with probation, will continue to assess the best placement for her as she comes up on her 18th birthday and what she chooses to do once she turns 18 in terms of opting into that system or not.
That's great. That transition is always a very scary time. We want to make sure that we don't lose her in the gap. And TJ, I know that you've been working with our prosecutor's office as well as Sergeant Ravalos as the case on the trafficker has been moving forward. What can you share with us about your updates with Mary?
Yeah, so as soon as she came back into services, Lisa contacted me right away to let me know that she was at the hall. So I was able to set up meetings. So her and I meet every week. We meet every Thursday at 2:30. At first she was kind of embarrassed, you could tell, but like she realized that we're all still here for her. So I've been keeping her updated on the case updates. She is interested in doing an impact statement. So her and I have actually been working on that together. It's been kind of a cool process for her because I think this is one of the first times that she's really kind of realized that she was being victimized in that situation. So definitely hopeful for the future. But the continuous updates are good, and she appreciates the court information.
All right, thank you so much. And from our Deputy District Attorney, I know you coordinate with your colleague as well, but now that there's this other case that we have Mary in custody on, or detained rather, in our juvenile hall, what are your thoughts?
So I am handling Mary's delinquency case, given that she had charges previously, as the court is aware, that were handled informally with our probation department. I would ask at this time that she be placed on formal probation for her most recent charges.
All right, and I assume that you'll be working with social services and through Mary's lawyer, Yana, to make sure that we have a dual plan, a dual jurisdiction plan for her as she appropriately fits in our Grace Court?
Yes, and we're already working on that.
All right. Yana, anything further for Mary on that behalf?
Yes, I have spoken with Mary. I would say that she's had a rough year. I would be recommending to the court that she be referred to substance abuse treatment services. She's very much missing her mother and her brother and wants contact with them, wants to return to mom. I did discuss our non-minor dependent program where she can receive services from 18 to 21. She's very interested in that. Anyway, it's great that she's back.
Yana, I understand that Mary's with us today. We've brought her up out of the hall, and I would love for the team to be able to sit and talk with her.
Yes, I believe the bailiff is going to bring her in.
Can I just interject? I'm sorry.
Please. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I just really wanted to give you an update about our new program that we have.
Oh, please.
Intensive Services Foster Care. So it's brand new with the county, and we actually have a foster home that once she's done with the time that she needs to do at juvenile hall, we can put her in intensive services foster home. That type of foster home provides additional wraparound services, an additional social worker for support. All of her team can come and see her there and work with her there. And so we're really happy that we're able to locate this placement for her. She'll be able to continue with her regular CSEC therapist. So it sounds like we're all on the same page about moving forward, and I'm glad that we're able to locate a placement for her for now.
Absolutely. And Nicole, thank you. Were you able to talk with Mary at all about the new placement so that we can get her out of juvenile hall? I'm guessing that's what we're going to hear from her when we bring her out.
Yeah, she wants out of juvenile hall pretty bad. She's open to, of course, treatment. We can have intensive treatment, whether it's outpatient substance abuse treatment while she's there. She wants to go home. She's always talking about wanting to go home with mom, but right now that's just not the option. And I think this is going to be the next best option for her that she's okay with right now.
And mom's counsel's in support of that as well?
Yes, Your Honor. The mother is engaging in services. She's been participating in counseling, as well as engaging in CSEC caregiver services, and she is going to juvenile hall weekly to engage and meet with her daughter, and sometimes the brother also comes to juvenile hall to meet with her. They are very supportive of Mary getting whatever services she needs and whatever placement she needs, with the goal of her coming home safely.
That's great. Yana, you want to bring on
Sure,
Mary?
she will be brought in custody by the bailiff.
Cadence is so excited to see Mary.
And Your Honor, I'm asking that restraints be removed.
Absolutely. Oh, good afternoon, Mary. It is so good to see you. It's been a minute, been a little while. As you can see, Cadence made the beeline for you. We have really missed you. We've been so worried about you. How are you doing? Tell me a little bit about how you're doing.
Well, sorry, I'm kind of embarrassed. I shouldn't have gotten picked up on such a stupid charge. Juvie really sucks. I just want to go home. Don't want to be here anymore.
So Mary, I think Nicole's been talking to the social worker about if we can't get you immediately home to mom is engaging in services for herself. She really wants to make sure she reunifies with you as well. So we're all on that same page while mom's getting ready and while we help you with your substance abuse issues. I know that you've shared that with us, that you struggled a little bit. What do you think about the ISFC home?
Nicole told me about it a little bit, and it seems like a lot better than Juvie at least. But so yeah, I'm definitely interested in that.
Okay. Are you getting to see your brother at all? I know your brother's really important to you.
I hope so. I don't really know what he's been up to, but I hope I could see him if he's around.
We just want to stay in contact with you. I've talked with the team about making sure I release you from the Juvenile Hall Detention Center, that we get you placed in a really nice place that will help you with services, with treatment, but also to help you re-engage with mom and your brother. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Okay. You ready to move there?
Yeah.
Yana, what do you think?
I think it's a great idea. I'm very proud of my client. It's really great that you're back. We've missed you, and we're very happy to see you.
Okay, well then, court's going to make the orders to release Mary forthwith and have her transported. Ms. Nicole, will you make arrangements to make sure that she's transported to her new home?
Yes, we can absolutely transport her there, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, 2 years have passed with Mary. Engaging in these services, engaging in different alternatives to treatment, placements for her to be safe and staying in communication with her. So again, as we resume, Mary has been in her new placement. I turn back to the same kind of staffing style. What is going on with Mary? Is she an MD in our non-minor dependent program? And I look first, and TJ, tell me how it's going with Mary. You've remained as her advocate, thankfully.
Yes, I just want to say how proud I am of her. She's done so well, so especially since leaving the hall, we've been in constant contact, so it's been over 2 years now. Engaging with services, doing everything that she needs to do. She's also working alongside the prosecutor and the investigator for her original trafficking charge, as well as, like I said, she really did want to do a victim impact statement, so that's been going forward too, but she's been doing amazing. We have regular meetings, and everything's been going super well.
Yes, we've been working with her on her victim impact statement, and I think she's going to have something prepared for the court.
Okay, that's beautiful. Nicole, can you give us the update from the agency side?
Yes, I can. The last 2 years have been a journey with us and with Mary. We've gone through a lot. She's doing really, really good. Her mom and her brother, they're engaging in therapy with her. She has been in the intensive services foster home for about a year now or so, something like that. And she's working regularly with her CSEC therapist. She has completed substance use treatment. Her mom has completed substance use treatment. They've been having regularly weekend visits. She's been working with therapy with her brother as well. He's participating in it. She's much more positive, and she has a much more positive outlook on her future. She's interested in possibly becoming a non-minor dependent once she turns 18. She's aware of all that. She wants to go home, though. She wants to be able to receive those services while she's living at home. I think that mom and brother are doing really well, and I think that that might be a possibility for her.
That's great. How about from probation, Lisa?
Yeah, probation, she has done really well. She has successfully completed all of her terms and conditions of probation. She has significantly reduced her drug use. There's no methamphetamine use at all. Awesome. Occasionally, I will get a positive marijuana, but great reduction in that. And probation is good with terminating. She has a strong connection with her Waymakers advocate, a great team that's going to go alongside her and support her. And I think it's time to.
That's great news. That's great news. How about from Department of Ed, Griselda?
Sure. Mary's been doing really great at our Access Community Schools, so she's been working really hard. She now has 100 credits. She's in her 4th year of high school, so she was found eligible for the foster youth graduation exemption, so she'll only need about 30 more credits to graduate. So she should be graduating with her regular 4th year graduating class, so that's really great. We've connected her with all of her resources for her cap and gown. We have staff who've worked with her to complete her FAFSA application, as well as any community college applications. I think that she is hoping to attend OCC, so we have connected her with the Guardian Scholars Program there. And then she was also able to get assessed for special education, so she is receiving her IEP services. And they are working really great alongside her to provide her the additional supports that she needs. But so far, everything is going well. She has a really great relationship with her teacher, so whenever she's having a rough go, she has an open dialogue with him with regards to like what she needs, maybe a little bit of additional time with schoolwork. But overall, she's doing really, really well.
That's great. And the agency, I'm sure that you are very pleased with the progress and her NMD status.
Yes, as Nicole mentioned, Mom and Mary have both been doing very well. Mary does want to go home, and she is turning 18 imminently because it sounds like her probation case is likely to be closed. We're going to have to let her make her own choices now that she's 18, but we do have a plan in place to support her even though she's going home a little earlier than we would hope. We do have the independent living plan in place, and she is aware that she can always come back to us for housing resources if there are any disruptions in the home.
All right, sounds good. And Yana, I think Mary maybe wants to make a few statements about what she's thought about this process over the last couple years and what she thinks about our GRACE program specifically.
Yes, and I know that I've spoken with her, and she's very anxious to show this court how well she can do without being on probation. She's very grateful to be concluding her probation, and I will let Mary speak to that.
Yeah, thank you guys for helping me get on a better track. I know I've made some mistakes, but you guys are all help support me and get me back on track, and now I actually might have a shot at a future. So thanks.
Mary, we're so proud of you. We want to congratulate you. You have responded. You have put in the hard work in this. I know you've bonded with Cadence. She sure loves to see you at every session. I am absolutely honored to terminate your probation case successfully. As you heard from County Council too, those services will be available to you in our non-minor dependent status. You have successfully done everything that's been asked of you here. It's been a journey for a couple years. But what I understand as we close out your Grace Court appearances is something really special that happens. And it's not easy. It's a challenge. You wrote a very passionate victim impact statement that was provided at your trafficker's trial and sentencing. My understanding is that as we close out this session here this morning, you'd like to share that victim impact statement that you drafted. And so that everybody knows, as Mary prepares to read this to you, this is an actual victim impact statement. And again, we want to dedicate this to Denise Schleicher, who is just somebody who will live on as a legacy within all of us. So again, to Mary, thank you very much, and please go ahead and share.
I have had my childhood robbed from me. Instead of going to school dances and having my first boyfriend, I was half naked on your local street corner. I was exposed to domestic violence, drugs, and put my health at risk. I was a sophomore with a B average. My life took a plunge for the worse when I met the defendant. I remember him being very angry and oftentimes displaced his aggression on another female, Imani. I remember being scared to tell my honest and truthful opinion to the defendant in fear that I too would be beaten. There were times when the defendant would have sexual intercourse with me. Even if I was too tired to engage, I would submit to him in fear of being beaten. I believe that because the defendant has glamorized this unhealthy and unethical lifestyle, I continued to take part in this inhumane way of life. Oftentimes, I didn't get a chance to pick something as simple as even where I ate. I was the average girl next door, just like your neighbor's daughter, your niece, or even your own daughter. There's not just one person who could potentially damage another girl the way the defendant has damaged me. There are many demons in the shape of men who could do what the defendant did to me, if not worse. These damages don't just disappear overnight or with one therapy session. I have to deal with these damages for the rest of my life. As for the defendant specifically, I hope you can live knowing that you completely changed my life for the worse and not for the better. Although you have ruined me and left permanent emotional and mental scars, I still hope your kids don't go through anything that you've put me through. There is no hatred in my heart towards you, and I will not allow you to keep me in this mental trap forever. I forgive you. I hope God can set you free from your troubles and help you become an angel instead of being a Rottweiler in a Chihuahua's clothing, and get the help that you need.
I just want to say thank you to all of these team members. Thank you to Mary. This is just a very brief showing of what happens in a day-to-day intervention, I'll call it, with all of these folks. And it doesn't happen without them working collaboratively. So Dr. Morgan, we're going to turn it back over to you.
One more time. Juan Reveles, please come out from wherever you're hiding. Lynn Tron, please come to the stage. The first time I went to do an observation at Grace Court, I counted 14 people who cared about one child. And I knew we are on a good path. This is what the Orange County response to commercially sexually exploited children looks like. And it is dedicated, it doesn't give up. There were 4 years represented in the last hour and a half. And it's so amazing because these people care. It's not a 9-to-5 job. They care. And I just want to give them one more round of applause. I also want to thank Mary, and is it all right if I introduce you? Please come down here. I actually held this little girl when she was a baby. This is Claire Carr, and what a brave girl to step in and be our youth actor. Thank you. And I could tell Cadence just wanted to support you too. Not even scripted. Thank you so much. I really feel like you guys need to do the whole drama team thing. Stand, join hands, and do a bow. Come on, acting class, everybody to the front, join hands, do a bow. Yeah, oh yeah, you can do that too. 1, 2, 3.